How's everybody feeling? Good. Awesome. Y'all look good. Okay, so the brother's going to bring me a chair and we will get into the presentation here. And I'd like to kind of just do a quick assessment of who I'm talking to in this room today. So by showing of hands, how many pescatarians do we have in the room? Okay, represent. How many vegetarians do we have in the room today? Okay, cool. And how many vegans? Word. Okay, great. Okay, so how many of you are eating a diet that you know you damn well you shouldn't be eating and you're ready to transition into a healthier way of life? All right, so then we're all here together to grow and to learn. Good. Okay, I'm gonna get a little closer. All right, so for those of you who don't know who I am, and you're thinking, who is this lady up here? My name is Chef Aki, or I'm known as Chef Aki, and I am obviously in the culinary arts, but my passion is wellness and holistic health in general. And that journey has started from a bit of a different place than the typical culinary chef. Whereas I wanted to get into the field because I wanted to help to prevent disease and cure disease with food. Okay. I'm 35 today, going on 36, and I'm grateful to have never, ever had to have been medicated or hospitalized for any reason at all. And I am trying to hold it down and keep it going. And I think I'll be able to do it. But I think I've been able to do that because I started very, very early in this journey. So everything that I've picked up over the last 17 years, I'm really on a mission to share with you. And we're all here to learn together. I'm no different than you, other than I've been on this journey for a long time, and I am anxious to share any information that I have on how you can become well. If you're struggling with any particular disease, if you're struggling with weight loss, if you're struggling with right now fibroids and reproductive disorders is the topic of the day, because this is getting out of hand. So there's a war on the womb, especially the womb of the black woman. So that's something that we absolutely have to address and get serious about the situation, because we're spending billions of dollars every year. Black women are 78% of all hysterectomies right now are performed on black women, okay? And we're talking about billions of dollars, pre-care, post-care. I mean, it's crazy, all right? That doesn't include all the medication, all right? So, with all that being said, again, for those of you coming in now, hey, I'm Chef Aki. You can find me online all day, every day, teaching and trying my best to inspire via the food arts and lots of great information on how to get well. Now, as you can see here, we're going to talk about ancient foods for the modern man. And I want to be clear that when I'm saying ancient foods, we're talking about indigenous foods. As you can see here by the title of my book, Electric Foods, Indigenous Foods. I use all of these terms interchangeably because it really is the same thing. Natural foods are indigenous foods, are non-hybrid foods, organic, ancient foods, all right? So we'll go into some details, and we'll do a slide presentation today to get into that. So as the book here is Electric, a Modern Guide to Non-Hybrid and Wild Foods, all right, we're going to kind of get into the differentiation between a typical vegetarian or vegan diet and what it means to understand non-hybrid and wild foods and electric foods and why this is important. All right, and then we'll do a little Q&A after. So, all right, so we're gonna try to get through this slide, and I'm gonna hop all over the place a little bit. If you could go forward a little bit, thank you. Forward on the slide, next slide. Next slide. A little lopsided, isn't it? If we could straighten up the slide, brothers, Duran, or I don't know who's controlling that. Next slide, next slide, next slide. We're gonna go all the way down, next slide, next slide. We're gonna go a little further, okay, further, further, further. A little further. Further, further, further. All right, hold on. Go back. All right, here we go. We're gonna start with what the hell do I eat? Because I know that's what's going through your mind every day when you're thinking, I got my husband, I got my kids, I grew up on soul food, barbecue is good, and I want to eat the pancakes and the pizzas and the frozen things and convenient foods, okay? So I know this is difficult. I know we all want to be better. Everybody wants to have the perfect tiny waist, and everybody wants to be strong and fit, and the brothers want to maintain protein, and they want to keep muscles and mass and all of that, all right? So I know that it's a struggle. So we want to talk about what you can do today as opposed to a whole lot of rhetoric about what you should eat. I know that you know what you shouldn't be eating. I hope you know. But most of you know what you should not be eating. Okay, if it, like the brother just said, who was here earlier, if it did not come fresh out of the ground or from a tree, and it doesn't have any life force from the sun, that it absorbs from the sun, the same way plants have the photosynthesis process. African people or African ancestry, indigenous people of the planet are considered phototrophic. Like plants have photosynthesis, we're experiencing being phototrophic means that you're absorbing sunlight and you're turning that into nutrition in your body. Okay, so that's very, very important. So if it ain't that, then it's not it. All right, and it's very simple. We get real technical when it comes to this food thing about what you should and should not eat. And I'm here to tell you that it's not technical and it's not difficult. And it's actually a shame that we've gotten this far away from what we just should simply eat to sustain ourselves. Can you imagine the gorillas and the apes and the animals and birds sitting around saying, wow, man, did you get enough protein today? You know? Like, did you get enough amino acids? Or I don't think I'm getting enough enzymes. And, you know, they don't have that conversation. They just know. They're in tune. They know what to eat. You know, they don't have to read a book to figure it out and eat right for the blood type and macrobiotic, this and that. Why is that? Okay? Why don't they have to speculate? And why do we speculate about what to eat? Why don't we just know? Okay? So the thing is, we do know, but we've gone so far away from that we've become addicted. And that's what's really happening, is that we're not eating food, really. We're eating drugs. We're eating poisons, and we're addicted. We're just like a bunch of crackheads. And it's true. Watch your children. Watch your children when you take away all the carbs or the sweets out the house for a week. Take the potato chips and the noodles and the cookies out of the house for a week. And watch what happens. The kids gonna climb the walls because they're gonna say, oh, there ain't nothing to eat in here. They look in the fridge and it looks like a rainforest, and they're thinking, there's nothing to eat. And that's unfortunate, you know. So we have to change the entire lexicon here of how we're dealing with food and understanding food. All right, so what I call the Class C diet, Aboriginal vegan, vegetarian diet, the first stage of actual healthy eating. This is the practice of eating organic and wild vegetables and wild grains. All right? And that means none of the food is grown conventionally, sprayed with pesticides. And it tells you why. Pesticides destroy the glandular and the endocrine system of the body. It escalates cancerous estrogens, and it alters nerve signaling via their dense ammonium compounds. So in short, cancer. Okay. This is also talking about estrogen, which is a major issue with reproductive disorder with women. Way too much estrogen going on. Estrogen dominance is the basis of all reproductive disorder. And that's coming from not only what you eat, but it's coming from, of course, birth control pills. You know, the doctor tell you to go balance your hormones, and here's a pill. Well, it's an estrogen pill. Okay, so we want to be very careful about estrogen pills because it feeds fibroids. Estrogen actually lives off of, feeds what we call white adipose tissue, and that's what's going to cause tissue growths. It's going to cause reproductive growths and things like that. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Want to go to substitutions. Next slide. Okay, this is really long. All right, substitutions. So we want to talk a little bit about how to substitute some of the foods that you love and replace them with some electric foods, some ancient foods, some non-hybrid foods. Now, let me be clear. Non-hybrid, I know there's a lot of speculation about what a hybrid is and what it isn't and why it's necessary, and I want to clear that up, okay? Here we go. So, hybrid foods are foods that are altered not only through being sprayed by pesticides like a non-organic item, okay? Because you can have an organic hybrid food. Okay, so be mindful of that. You can go to Whole Foods today and find an organic grape or watermelon, but it's still hybrid because it doesn't even have a seed in it. So when does the creator do that? All right, so that's something's going on. And what's going on is called manganese inhibitors being added to that fruit or plant, and it is causing sterility. So now that food has become seedless so that you don't have to worry about seeds getting in the way. But then, you know, then we have problems with our reproductive system because the plant has no reproductive system. Okay? So it doesn't matter if it says organic if it still is seedless. All right? So I want to be clear about that. Also, when we're looking at these Cavender bananas, you can Google all over and see about Cavender bananas being a major hybrid, one of America's largest hybrids. You go all over to other parts of the world and you see Dole Company, all right, making billions of dollars off of those big old seedless Cavender bananas. A real banana or an indigenous banana in its normal, healthy, natural state with its genetic integrity intact, the way God made it, thousands of years ago, is a very small banana. And I'm sure you've seen them. They're called burro bananas. All right, and they have little black seeds in them. Have y'all seen those? Okay, that's a banana. Very sweet, delicious, let it ripen. The same way you do with your banana, your regular banana. And then you can freeze those and make your smoothies with those and so forth, and make your banana pudding or whatever you're gonna do with it. All right. So again, another hybrid, super sugary, pumped up hybrid. Could be organic banana, yet still hybrid. All right, so this is the detail we're getting into here. All right, so wheat is the first thing on the list because wheat is one of the #1 killers, attacks the immune system. Wheat is awful. You know, what they did with wheat back in the late 70s and 80s, making us think that this stuff was healthy, is just ridiculous. Majorly monocropped, hybridized, gluten-filled, nutritionalist item, okay? Food-like stuff. but not really made for consumption. There's a great book out called Wheat Belly. Wheat Belly, incredible book that breaks down all of the things that you can suffer from due to eating too much wheat, and they put it in everything. So you want to be very careful about wheat bread and wheat this and wheat that. It's not good for you. We're talking about asthma. Your children are suffering with asthma, suffering with eczema. If you're suffering with inflammation, diabetes, you want to get off that wheat. So you can replace it with things like your quinoa flour, your millet flour, your teff, your amaranth, your spelt. These are some of the ancient grains that have their full genetic integrity intact that you can start implementing in your diet to replace wheat. If you like to bake and things like that, you can do your millet and teff and quinoa and things like that, all right? So you can find all of these in their whole form or broken down into their, milled into a flour form as well, all right? So all that goes to couscous, rice, grits, oatmeal, and brown rice too. The ideal rice to eat is gonna be wild rice, okay? And I heard somebody say black rice, forbidden rice. But ideally, your wild rice, you want to look for your wild or black rice. If you're going to do couscous, I don't suggest it. I suggest you do the quinoa instead, amaranth instead. If you want a good breakfast cereal, get away from the grits and the oatmeal. Try your quinoa flakes. Try your chia seed, your amaranth mixed with your millet, mixed with your quinoa flakes. Millet makes a great breakfast, okay? So these are some of the things that you can make it like oatmeal, okay? But it's not gonna be this mucus forming, glutinous, almost nutritionalist item, all right? And I know some of this sounds crazy to some of y'all. It's like, that's my favorite thing, you know. I get it. It's, you know, it's cheap. That's why it's cheap. It's not a health food, okay? So they want you to purchase the cheap, nutritionless foods to fill you up, so you're out the door, you know. So that's what that's about. All right, but it's not good for you. Potatoes, turnips, rutabagas. So you're gonna want to replace your potato and your carbs in general with things like your butternut squash. If you don't feel like chopping that bad boy up, because I know it can be a pain, especially if you got a big family. Everyone loves butternut squash. You can make them like candy yams if you want to, minus the white sugar and the butter. You can use your coconut butter, and you can bake it, and it's wonderful. Bake it whole. You don't even have to skin it. You can just chop it down the middle and bake it. It's wonderful. But you're gonna wanna also do, like your wild winter squashes are wonderful. All those weird looking squashes that you look at and you're thinking, what the hell is that? And you know, how do I incorporate that? Don't be afraid of it. Put some heat on it and it's wonderful. You know, don't run from the squashes. These wild squashes are great. You can find butternut squash chopped and frozen, organic. All right, so look for that in the frozen section and dump that in your stew. You know, dump that in your casserole. You know, toss that up, sweeten it up, and make it, you know, get some maple syrup and some cinnamon and some vanilla, some sea salt. Just jump on in there. All right, white onions. We want to get away from the white onion. It is, again, a hybrid in its full genetic integrity. A white onion is a red onion, all right? Red onion is wonderful for neurological system. It's wonderful for your blood, great for your liver. Red onion is going to be the #1 spice of choice in vegetarian cooked food. You're going to want to do red onion. Get away from garlic. And I know that this is a major, major argument and topic among many, many people. If you guys are familiar with Dr. Sebi, you know that he is anti-garlic. And I'm gonna tell you why, all right? So garlic, as well as a hybrid. It's highly acidic. All right, so we're talking about the alkaline and the acidic balance of food. All right, and what we put into our bodies, that we want to balance that acid alkaline. And some people will say you want to be completely alkaline. And I know that, you know, there's a lot of this alkaline water fad, and people are buying $10,000 alkaline machines and spending all this money on alkaline water. You do want to try to get your body as alkaline as possible and put alkaline foods in your body, but there are some necessary acids, okay? And there are some alkaline things that you cannot put in your body. I mean, bleach is alkaline, ammonia is alkaline, okay? But that doesn't mean it's digestible for you. So the goal here is to balance your acid alkaline. For example, a Meyer lemon is acidic, but it's a structural acid. Okay, so you still need some of these acids. It's very cleansing. And some people think limes are acidic. Actually, they're alkaline. Acidic doesn't mean that it's something that is sour. I think people assume that acid means sour and alkaline doesn't and all this. But it's all coming down to what the pH balance is of that fruit or plant. All right, so above 7, 7.5 alkaline, below acidic, and anything acidic, of course, is detrimental to the body, detrimental to the organs. And coming from a background in colon therapy is how I really got into culinary arts, was colon therapy. And when I turned 18, I actually decided I'm going to clean my body up, because I've been eating chitlins and pork chops and ramen noodles and bologna sandwiches and Doritos all my life, okay? And I'm one of 3 siblings, and everybody's sick, you know, but me at this point. And I'm holding on. So, you know, after watching my grandfather pass of diabetes, watching my mother suffering from thyroid issues, my sister who cannot have children, has never had children because of ovarian cysts and full hysterectomy at just 23, which is insane, all right? This is something that I did not want to have to experience. I wanted to prevent, okay? So, you know, I'm coming in thinking, my God, there's something wrong here. I don't think that God meant for us to not be well. How can I fully live my purpose if I'm not well? You know, how can I actively be there for my husband, my family, my peers, my work that I'm here to do, you know, if I'm not well? So we have to, especially Black women, we have to start prioritizing ourselves a lot more, because we take care of everybody, right? And we don't really take care of ourselves. So that's very important. So we want to try to incorporate these alkaline living foods into our body to help that inner ecosystem to be flourishing and balanced, and keep our organs intact, keep your blood clean. It's very important. We don't want to become so inflamed that we're not able to function, and then your organs start to turn against you, all right? So we want to get off garlic in general, but it is something that can be helpful. It is an antibiotic. If you have the flu, you know, this can be used as a medicine, all right? But it's not supposed to be used as a daily 3 to 5 time a day food consumption item. Does that make sense? This is not something that you eat all the time. You know, this is a medicine, all right? For when you want to blast that mucus out of your system in the flu season or something like that, but it's not something you want to just eat all the time. It actually really tears away at what's called the mucosal lining in your intestinal tract, okay? As does all acidic foods and processed foods. All these denatured foods tear away and eat away at that mucosal lining, especially meat. And I don't care if it's fish. To my pescatarians, you got to transition over time, and I understand that. I respect it. It takes time. But all flesh foods go into the body, 98-degree weather, and they rot, period. They ferment. They rot. And once that fermentation takes place in your gut, all right, it turns into a poison. because it's not digesting. Your body's not just pulling it in, making it nutritious and dumping it out. It's sitting in your body. It's making your bowel very sluggish. It's very slow to move out of your system, okay? And I'm telling you, from a colon therapist perspective, lions, tigers, and bears in that thing, like, it's not cool, okay? It's bad. And I've seen brothers come in there with 6 packs, and they have the worst digestive system, okay? Because they're athletes and they're eating steak and potatoes every day, all right? And they work out. They work out. But their digestive system and their organs are rotting inside, okay? So don't get it twisted. I hear a lot of people say, well, I work out, you know, but your fitness starts in the inside. Fitness starts in the organs. Fitness starts in the organs, all right? Wellness starts in the organs. So you can see a lot of tiny people. That doesn't mean that that's a sign of wellness, okay? So keep that in mind. Corn. We want to get this corn out of our body. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the cornification of America. Look it up. The cornification of America will change your perspective about what is going on with the corn industry. Everything is corn. Everything is corn syrup. Everything is, you know, they'll try to trick you and say it's a amaranth cereal. And you look at it, the first ingredient is wheat and corn, and then there's a little bit of quinoa, and there's a little bit of amaranth, and, you know, they try to trick you. You know, you think, oh, you know, a little bit of corn. You know, the corn is very detrimental, does not digest, is highly hybridized. Corn started off as maize, all right? That would be the ancestor of what is today's poisonous offspring, all right? This big, cheap, sweet, oversized corn that we're eating today. So be very mindful about that, vegetarians. So this is just a great list of some things that you can start supplementing. If you love your garlic, do some scallions, do some shallots, do some chive. As a matter of fact, esaterifera is a spice. They also call it hing, H-I-N-G. Esaterifera. I hope y'all got some notepads out, because I know it's a lot of information. But hing, or esaterifera, is a wonderful spice. It's real kind of got that funk on it, like garlic, to try to replace the garlic. So you can do a blend of esaterifera with your shallot, or your chive, your red onion, your Meyer lemon, and try to, you know, your sea salt, and get that, try to get that same flavor, okay? Won't be exactly the same, but, all right. So if we can back up a little bit and go to a different slide while we're getting that together. So, okay, and going back. All right, so I just want to show you guys some of the best foods that you can get into your body. But while we're doing that, and you can go all the way back to the 3rd slide, I want to talk a little bit about water, because I get a lot of questions about water and what you should drink and how much you should drink. And I know that the standard Western medical system will tell you get 8 glasses of water a day. You know, some people say, well, I'm trying to drink at least a gallon a day. And water is important, and hydration is important, but we are gravely miseducated on what is hydration and what is really water. And there's a lot of water on the market that I call dead water, okay, or bulk water, because it doesn't penetrate the cell. So you are not really drinking, okay? And I want to make that clear, in that what's happening is our current water system is subjective to the point to where we just really have to make do with what's best, and then from there treat our water to get the most out of the water. And that's what's going on. Don't run out and get a $10,000, $20,000 alkaline machine. What's happening with these machines is the water is running through metal plates that are giving off the electric charge that is saying boom, alkaline, and then it comes out and you do the test and it's alkaline. Okay, so again, going back to nature. You know, God didn't make an alkaline machine, give it to Adam and Eve and say, bam, you know, here's your alkaline water. It didn't work like that, nor do my mother nature doesn't work like that, and that I need to go spend $20,000 for me to drink. You know, that's not how we're gonna do that. So how do we do that? We use nature. And like the brother Kepra said, your first hydration should come from your fruits and vegetables. That's first, because that is an alkaline water coming out of that peach or that papaya or that watermelon or that pear. Okay, that is your first source of hydration. And I'm telling you that you can get more hydration from a cucumber than you're gonna get from 2 cups of dead water, tap water, bottled water. And if you're lucky, that bottled water has a BPA-free container so that you're not also getting leached chemicals and dyes and all these things. This water is sitting in warehouses for days in the heat before you even get it, okay? There's been numerous tests on water. There's some incredible videos out about water and how they're taking all the city's water and condensing it, and you can see so much crap from dog hair to feces and urine. I mean, it's insane. All right, so water is bad. That's the truth. Get you some distilled water. Get you some spring water. And get it home and treat it. If you have to get a glass dispenser, 10, 20 bucks, find that online, find it in a health food store. Keep that dispenser in your home. Get those BPA-free or glass containers, 3-gallon, 5-gallon, whatever. Go to your health food store, fill that up with some distilled or some spring, you know, or whatever they have that is the cleanest, most purified form of reverse osmosis water that you can get. Take that home. Get you some liquid chlorophyll. Liquid chlorophyll, organic. And you're gonna put a few, maybe a tablespoon or so into like a 5-gallon container. You wanna do maybe a tablespoon or 2 of the chlorophyll. And that's going to go into your water, and that's going to alkalize your water. It's also going to structure your water. It's going to restructure the ions in your water, and it's going to shrink that molecule so that it can now go and penetrate the cell, so you can really get hydrated. And you'll feel the difference. You'll know, okay, now I'm drinking water. Okay, it'll hydrate your cells. That's very, very important, because the cells are dehydrated in most people, especially because of the high carb diet and the high iodized salt diet that we're eating. Now, there's nothing wrong with salt, but there is something wrong with table salt. So we want to incorporate salt. As a matter of fact, I'm very anti, if any of you are following my blogs or anything, I talk about salt. I've been talking about it for years, and that the doctors have scared black folks, especially because of high blood pressure, into not eating salt. But salt's one of the most nutrient-dense things you can put in your body. It's electrical, and you need salt, all right? But you want the right salt that's full of minerals, and that's gonna be your Celtic, some people say Celtic, salt. It's kind of moist. It's been sun-dried. Also, your pink salt, your pink Himalayan sea salt, preferably. There's some red and black salts out there that are wonderful, full of minerals. All right, so you don't have to eat tasteless food. Okay, you can have salt, but you want the right salt. All right, it's very electrical. You can light a light bulb with salt water. All right, so, and as you can see here, we're still talking about eating fruit with seeds, very, very important. Papaya being just one of the best things you can get in your body. Back up again. Oh, that's the baby banana that we were talking about earlier. That's actually one of the red burro bananas. Amaranth, if we could squish this slide up, that'd be great, but I'll do my best. So this is amaranth. It's a really great breakfast cereal for those of you that are like, well, damn, you know, breakfast is probably the most unhealthy thing that we eat. It's gonna be either carbs or protein or dairy. And all 3 of those things, especially for the African American, is deadly. All right, the carbs, the protein, And the dairy, that is, especially in excess, is really to our detriment. It's horrible. All right, and that's really why we're passing on diabetes. I tell people, diabetes is not genetic. You do not have a genetic predisposition to diabetes. What you have is, grits and potatoes and bacon and eggs on your plate. That's what you got. You and your grandma and your mom and all of you have been eating the same thing. So you're passing on the lifestyle. You're not passing it on through your genes. Don't let anybody tell you that. You can change your genes. The body changes all the time. Okay? Yeah, you can change your genes. So you can heal yourself and continue to create new cells in the body all the time. So don't assume that you can't get better because of what your mother or your grandmother was doing. You can. Okay? So that's one of the best things that you can put in your body. Full of protein. Don't worry about making the shift over to a plant-based diet. Protein is not an issue for vegetarians. I've been eating this way for 17 years and I've never felt faint or weak because of lack of protein. I eat hemp seeds, I eat chickpeas, lentils, amaranth, get more than enough protein, almonds, more than enough. You actually don't even need that much protein. Matter of fact, we'll talk about this later, but protein in itself really is a myth predicated by the meatpacking industry. But what you do need is nutrients, minerals, electricity, and you can get plenty of protein minus the meat. The meat, as a matter of fact, once you cook it, you lose 83% of the available protein anyway. So you're really, you could do like the Japanese and just eat sushi and be better off. You're not getting a lot of protein because you're eating a fried chicken or cooked steak. That's a myth. Okay, you're killing the nutrient. All right, so I love this. I want to leave it here for just a second. Very important, sea moss, carob, and dates. These are 3 superfoods on the Electric Foods list. If you guys have seen Dr. Sebi's list, if you guys have seen the AMA or Aboriginal Medical Association list for electric foods, alkaline foods, this is one of those wonderful creations that I make every day that really gives you a nice full feel and you still get that kind of chocolate taste, as I love chocolate. But you can do the baby bananas and blend that with your sea moss, your carob, and date. And I tell men especially to get plenty of sea moss. It's high in minerals. It has 98 of the 102 minerals that the body needs, matter of fact. And some of you may be not so familiar with sea moss, and I'll show you a picture of raw sea moss in just a moment. But sea moss for your joints is phenomenal. If you're suffering with joint pains and things like that, brittle and weak hair, nails, bones, things like that. If you are looking to enhance your reproductive situation, men for prostate, women, if you're losing too much sperm. I know we have children in the room, but we're gonna talk about this wellness. Okay, they're out of the room. So for the most part, you want to maintain your vitality, brothers. Okay, if you're losing too much of your male fluid. Okay, so we want to replace that, sisters, and help them out by giving them sea moss. And you can get sea moss usually in Oriental or Caribbean markets, all right, or you can order it online. And it's going to come to you in its raw form, very, very salty. So you're going to want to rinse it well. You're going to want to either soak or boil it, and then you're going to want to blend it, and it creates a nice gel. And that gel you can put in glass in your fridge and just pull from that every day. Throw that in your juices, throw that in your smoothies, throw that in your, I make pie with it. It's wonderful. It has a nice gel texture. So it's very similar to male fluid, matter of fact. And it actually, we're one and the same with Mother Earth. She knows what she's doing. And that sea men, which is very vital, creates a whole another life being. We need to enhance that process through using something like our beautiful sea moss. So this is sea moss after it's been rinsed, and now it's in its soaking process. It can be soaked or boiled. I usually boil mine really quickly. I mean, it doesn't take time. I mean, 3 minutes, this stuff is melting, and you can let it cool, blend it, and store it. And just take a tablespoon or 2 of that every day and put it in your smoothie, all right? As you can see here, plenty of trace minerals, potassium, calcium, fights infection, digestion. It's excellent. Excellent. And it's excellent for children and babies. If your children are having issues with digestive, eczema, any of those brittle bones, for babies, if they're too small, if they're born, I had a sister whose baby was preemie, and that baby sprung up so well. Her and her mother sent me a letter to say thank you for this recipe because this baby is thriving. This baby had a diet of sea moss with almond milk blended with some coconut water, hemp seed, and avocado. And we added the avocado a little later when he got a little bigger. But just in the beginning, it was a little bit of her milk because she wasn't able to feed. So as much as she could get, we had her milk blended with hemp or almond milk or coconut water with flesh or without, blended in sea moss. And the baby would just drink that. And then we later included dates as well and pink salt. Okay? So that baby formula right there is, I mean, this baby is thriving, okay? Nice and plump and thriving. Dandelion, I don't know if we can scoot that slide up, brothers, whoever's controlling the computer over here, but if we can scoot that up and see a little bit more about what's going on with Dandelion, don't change chest. And she tells that story. And it burst on her chest in the middle of the night, and she went and was examined, and the cancer has completely left her body. No medication, no radiation, okay? Her cells simply wanted to live through her diet. You know, she was able to replenish and nourish her cells. You know, very simple, very simple. So the body always wants to heal itself. That's the big thing that I think we forget. We act like the body is something that's working against us, but the body's always trying to heal itself. It's the most sophisticated machine. You know, the Creator has made us wonderfully so that as long as we're providing the right environment, it will work just fine for you and it will heal itself. So usually, you know, when there's a problem, that's just a signal that you need to provide a better environment for your body to thrive. All right? We have any other questions? Lupus. With lupus, you know, for those of you just coming in, lupus, cancer, multiple sclerosis, even AIDS and herpes have all been cured. Been cured for years, okay? And I don't know if you guys know about the brother, Dr. Sebi, went up against the Supreme Court in 1989. Look it up. That brother never been to school. That brother could barely read a book. And he's right out of Honduras, born and raised, English being his second language. All right. In 1989, he was arrested for promoting that he was curing these diseases, including AIDS. And he went to the Supreme Court and came to the courthouse with 77 patients along with their diagnostic sheets proving that he had cured them simply with living non-hybrid foods, not vegan vegetarian, meaning vegetarian pizza and hot dogs, non-hybrid electrical food. And then he had his herbs as well as a part of that process and cured all of those diseases, okay? So, you know, when the sister's asking about lupus, my first thoughts are, you know, that everything has to start with the detoxing of what you've already put into your body. You know, anything that's detrimental to your body, you have to cleanse that out first. And then, you know, you're gonna do that with your Meyer lemons, your limes, your ginger, your cayenne, and then you want to rebuild. And fruit is cleansing. You know, really people say, I'm going to go on a detox, I'm going to go on a cleanse. Your food is the cleanse. What you eat is the cleanse. You should always be cleansing. I say the ABCs of cleansing, always be cleansing. Everything you put in your body is the cleanse. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to do a cleanse and all, you know, you're cleansing, okay? So you're eating a cleansing diet, all right? So incorporating the ginger, the cayenne, the bitters, the herbs into your diet, that's going to cleanse. And then you rebuild with sea vegetables, especially for lupus. Sea vegetables, and you want to get a whole lot of copper, iron, magnesium, things like that that are going to come through your leafy greens, your burro bananas. Also, there's a fruit that's coming to mind here. It's going to come to me any moment. But you want to incorporate some of these exotic fruits that we stayed away from. Tamarind is a wonderful fruit. It's kind of like a date, looks kind of like a pea pod, but if you see tamarind paste, tamarind frozen or fresh, wonderful to incorporate into your diet. Tamarind also, it's coming to me, sour orange, what they call ugly fruit. And I know some of my islanders know what I'm talking about. One of the best things you can put into your body. The typical navel orange is not it. It's a hybrid, okay? The real orange is that ugly fruit, sour orange. And you blend that with some ginger and a little bit of cayenne, some tamarind. You can add your maple syrup if you choose. Divine and very cleansing, very healing. All right, so indigenous people knew what they were doing. You know, they had access to all these wonderful things that unfortunately we've been taking away from our environment and away from our food supply. Okay, of what the things that make us thrive, which are these indigenous tropical electric foods. So we have to get a little bit out of our comfort zone. More questions, yes. Absolutely. Gotcha. He's asking about herbs, you know, what herbs do I grow or what I suggest you grow. And again, you know, for my Sabi babies in the room, y'all know half of the herbs that he uses are things that just don't grow here, and you'd be lucky if you can find them. You got to go across the border. But while you're here, and our Native American ancestors taught us well. My family's Choctaw, and they are serious about getting some of these foods that are still considered indigenous foods into the diet. And so there's going to be things like the native herbs, burdock. Burdock grows wild where I'm from in Oklahoma. Burdock is one of the best things you can get in your body, full of iron. Sisters especially need this if you're dealing with that low iron. Burdock. Also grow you some nettle, stinging nettle. Wonderful. You can make your infusions with that. Raspberry leaf, and also the dandelion leaf. That's one of the ones I would suggest that you incorporate into your diet or grow. And I personally love eucalyptus. Any other questions? Yes.
What's the reverse process in alcohol? So if we eat all of what we're eating and then we go and get drunk, does that counteract?
Yeah. You know, I call alcohol liquid carbohydrates, sugar, bread. You know, it's bread. If you try to make wine, which I certainly tried, you'll know the recipe calls for what? Yeast. Calls for, or a loaf of bread, what they call prison liquor. And if it ain't that, then they need what else? Potato, or what else they need? The rice wine, white rice. That's what the Asians do with the sake. It's all bad. It's all carbs. It's horrible. So if you want to reverse a situation where you have excessive amounts of alcohol messing with your liver, Dandelion. Get you some dandelion tincture from the health food store. Put that in under your tongue or with your water, or get you the fresh dandelion. That's gonna really kick it. That's gonna clean that liver right up. Okay? Any other question? Sister, go ahead. Oh, we got the mic going. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. So new mothers that can't produce, they're having a problem lactating, for example, and they know better than to do the formula thing. That's my first question. I always got two questions. My second question is like toddlers, or when the children come out of infancy, and like strong foods you might recommend in regards to surpassing the infancy stage.
It's a great question. Okay, so a few things. First question, you're asking about women lactating. This is really important. I actually talked to my midwife the other night. I don't know if you guys, if you're familiar with Dr. Jewel Pookrum. Dr. Jewel Pookrum is fantastic, and check her out. I know she gives a lot of advice on birthing and things like that. With lactating, oftentimes, brother, it is a dietary situation, but this is also a situation where the baby may or may not, the baby and the mother's connection needs to be assessed really, really deeply, and her connection to her body needs to be assessed really, really deeply. And this is just on a mental, spiritual level. You know, Pookrum always talks about whatever we're experiencing has to do with our state of consciousness. So the first thing, if I'm to be very accurate with you, then I'd have to, I can't not mention that the lactating process oftentimes for women is first mental, spiritual, okay? That's the first thing. Also, the baby may or may not be as interested as it wants to be in her milk based on how she's nurtured herself through the gestation process. So the first thing I would do is, you know, get her some mother's milk tea and get on the milk thistle. And the milk thistle herb should help to bring her milk down. Warm water and massage also on her breast is really, really important. And as this is my first child and I'm about to go through that process, you know, this is all from my teachers to you, from books I've read to you, and in theory to you, you know, because I myself haven't had this experience. But from what I'm being taught, that this is the process, and these are some of the best things that she can do. And just making sure that she's getting plenty greens and things like that. Fresh green juices and things like that are going to be helpful as well. And then your second question was about toddlers and feeding children. I do not suggest that the mother jump too soon to any solid food. Okay, that's completely unnecessary. Let that baby live on liquid for as long as possible. Okay, so of course her milk being the first and best source of nutrition, and then secondly, if that can't happen, hemp milk and sea moss. That combination is excellent. And get some of this, flesh out this coconut and that water and blend it in that Vitamix, you know, high-speed blender. That formula right there mixed with maybe a little bit of dates, just a little bit of pink sea salt or a little bit of sea moss and things like that. As the baby gets bigger, add some avocado. The baby can start eating maybe quinoa flake cereal, the hot cereal, amaranth cereal, you know. And then later on, it can get a little more sophisticated, some butternut squash and things like that. But don't rush that process. Don't rush into food for that, for the baby. And then into the toddler phase. Really, at 2 and 3 and 4, now we can eat our hot cereal and our steamed greens and, you know, steamed vegetables and things like that, and plenty fruit. Plenty fruit smoothies, fruit everything. They love fruit. That should be the first thing. So, but don't be so quick to get them into carbohydrates of any form either. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, yes sir. We got a question.
Greetings, sister.
Greetings.
What about foods that will combat the radioactive energy that we're constantly being faced with cell phones and all this electromagnetic energy that we're dealing with?
Good luck. Good luck. The radioactive energy that we're dealing with, I wouldn't say that food would be the #1 way to protect against that. I would first deal with, it's kind of like fighting fire with fire. So the first thing I would say is your crystals and stones and your argonite and things like that are going to be the first thing that you want to use to combat radioactivity and cell phone tower and all this craziness that we're dealing with. Is just surround yourself with argonite and also obsidian, magnetite, things like that. Those are going to be, you can actually even put some of those crystals in your water containers and put that in your glass dispensers at the bottom of your dispenser. But keeping those crystals around your home, that's going to be the first and foremost way to fight that. Otherwise, then of course, Electric Foods diet, we do our best and pray. Because the situation's messed up. Any other question? Yes, sister. She's been waiting for a while.
I have one quick question and then another one. Are chives sprouts of garlic? That was my first question. Like, do they come from garlic? And then my second question was dealing with breast cysts in the breast. It's not cancerous, but you don't want it there, and you don't know if that's going to be a problem for breastfeeding. So how do you deal with that in terms of that?
Very important. That's a very important question. I talked about this recently. If you guys are not on Chef Aki Instagram, I'm probably there more than anywhere else, giving information and exchanging information. And we just put up a post about the lymphatic system. Very important, sisters. We talk about blood, but we don't talk about lymph. Your lymphatic fluid, okay? This is very important for women. If you're doing breast exams and you feel lumps, if you feel lumps under your armpit, okay? This is very important. Your lymph nodes are toxic, clogged, and or simply stagnant and not moving, your lymph fluid. So I had that experience where between the ages of about 16 and 28, I would always feel lumps in my breast, and I didn't understand that. And of course I'm paranoid because you're thinking, oh darn, I've got some benign cancer tumor going on. You don't know. So but you know you feel something, and you're like, I can't have cancer, so what is the problem? What's going on, sisters, is we have to, one, get off of these underwire bras. And I know my sisters with the tig-o bitties don't want to come off the underwire. I get it. I feel you. And even you, as you're progressing in your diet and getting that estrogen out of your diet, your breasts are going to go back into more of a state of balance with the rest of your body and skeletal system as well. Okay? Because that estrogen is telling you we're preparing for a fetus. Okay? That's what's going on. So we want to get the underwire bras, get you some natural cloth bras that give you some good support. If you got to spend $100, that'll be that one bra that you wash and wear that bra, because you don't want that wire picking up all that mess and leaching into your skin. Okay? Putting those metals and aluminum in your skin. Same thing with aluminum pots and pans. Second thing, deodorant. Get off conventional deodorant today. Today. Now, I know you're saying I tried the natural one and it don't work. It's true. I tried 15 of them and they didn't work. It wasn't until I tried the crystal deodorant, which is the salt crystal, that actually worked for me. Okay? Now, I've heard maybe 1 or 2 people say it didn't work. Most people say it works. Okay? So it's very strange because it's a salt crystal and you gotta wet it and roll it around. But I'm talking about hot yoga sweat lodges. It works for me. So get off the conventional deodorant today, because the perfumes, the parabens, the chemicals, the aluminum, all that stuff is going into your armpit, And this is a very moist area where your pores are open and drinking that stuff every day, and then it's going right into your breast and causing these blockages in there, okay? And your body needs to be expelling that. This is an area for expelling and cleansing and detoxing, okay? So you're not supposed to not sweat, but you're supposed to just be a little damp, not funky, but damp. And all that will start to change as your body chemistry is coming into balance when you get into more of a plant-based diet. So this is all a process, okay? So you want to also get yourself a dry skin brush. And when you get to your shower, brush yourself from the foot up in circular motion, clockwise toward your heart, and get that lymph fluid moving in your body. And of course, exercise helps with this to get the lymph moving. Hot and cold showers and things like that, hot and cold baths, take your salt baths and things like that. But you're gonna see, I'm telling you, I didn't even realize that one day I just had no lumps anymore. And I'm telling you that for a fact. There were no more lumps. And I know it's because I switched finally. I mean, I was vegan for years. I just finally said, okay, I'm gonna switch. I just didn't take it seriously. And one day the lumps were gone, okay? And you asked about garlic and chives. So garlic and chives is garlic from the chive family or vice versa? Is it sprouted from a garlic? That's a good damn question. I don't know. I'll find out. Any other questions? Yes.
If you're drinking water on the go, you're not able to get to
Some good water.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What do you do?
All right, so I'll tell you what I do is myself and my husband, we've got our water distiller at home that we've treated that water, and we recycle our glass containers. Go to TJ Maxx, if you got one from Whole Foods, wash it out and keep it, get you some bottle cleaners, $2, $3, $4, get you some glass containers, fill that sucker up at home and go. Keep 2 of them in the car. That's what I do, because I don't want to have to get stuck with crap water. So I take my water with me. I take everything with me. Go ahead. Yes?
I would like to know, what can I do I have arthritis in my legs, and I'd like to know what can I do to revert it or out the way.
Understood. Gotcha. One of the first things you want to do is get rid of any aluminum cooking pots and pans. So we're done with that. Perfect. My grandmother struggles with arthritis, and all her life she's been cooking with a blend of cast iron skillet and then some really cheap pans, aluminum pots and pans. And she's struggling with that aluminum coming from, of course, again, a combination of underwire bras, deodorants, things that we're drinking, bad water, and then also the pots and pans. So once that's out of the way and you're rebuilding, the sea moss that we talked about is wonderful. Red onion is wonderful. And it's coming to me. The burdock that we talked about, wonderful to incorporate into your diet for arthritis as well. And I'm thinking of a few other things as we're talking that are coming to me right now for arthritis, but I have some information for you specifically on arthritis that if you come see me, I'd love to email it to you. I have a whole blog on arthritis I'd love to give to you. Yeah, thank you. She's got the mic.
Hi, what kind of foods do you recommend for fibroids to get rid of fibroids?
Fibroids.
That's happening.
Glad you asked. We're doing a huge fibroid elimination campaign right now, you all. If you go to fibroidelimination.com, you can learn a lot about and read some of the excerpts from the Fibroid Elimination Bible. You can also download the Fibroid Elimination Recipe Guide. 19 bucks, download it to your phone. GoChefAki.com, AHKI, fibroidelimination.com. Some of the best things with the fibroids, a lot of it is what you take out of your diet. There are even some estrogen-filled, or what we call aromatase-filled foods that are even vegetables and fruits that you want to take out the diet. The first thing is fermented. Anything fermented. And I know they try to say, oh, eat fermented and kombucha and apple cider vinegar and all this and that. For women with fibroids, I do not suggest it to get the ferments out of the body. Certainly want to get rid of anything that is going to increase fat. What I find with women with fibroids is 90% of them are struggling with weight also. And so oftentimes it is the estrogen and the what we call fat or white adipose tissue feeding off of each other. So the more that you are sweating, the more that you are eating very, very clean, no carbs. No carbs with the exception of maybe butternut squash, and then quinoa, your millet, your amaranth, your spelt. No carbohydrates, because that's going to feed the fibroid. No ferments, and you want to get the black cherries that we talked about, and the red raspberry, very important. Blueberries, blackberries, any of that stuff, very important. Get off peanuts, peanut butter. Get off that also. So it's going to be a little bit more about probably what you don't eat. Dairy is certainly a no-no. It's going to feed the fibroid. And I did a whole, on my Instagram page, what are you feeding your fibroids? And everything on a typical soul food plate feeds a fibroid. You want to be really careful about that. So, you know, your candied yams and your cornbread and all that corn products, you want to completely come off the corn products also, okay? So this is some good stuff for any reproductive disorder. Yes, sir?
I wanted to know your take on drinking too much distilled water, because from what I understand is that you should really be drinking distilled water when you're cleansing, and because it'll strip the body of minerals. It'll strip too much minerals out of the body. So I just wanted to get your take on that. What should be drinking if we're not cleansing? Which water should it be? Reverse osmosis? Should it be spring water?
Gotcha. If you all heard the brother, we were talking about water earlier. I don't know if you were here, but distilled water, drinking in large amounts, is known to leach minerals from the body. It's not replenishing minerals because it's been distilled. We talked about treating our water a little earlier. I don't know if you were here, but adding chlorophyll and pink Himalayan sea salt to the water is going to be best. And then also the spring water, of course, is best, but I would still treat my spring water also. And then, of course, your first choice of water shouldn't come from anything less than your coconut or your fruit in the first place. So your fruits first, then your chlorophyll spring, your chlorophyll distilled water, in that order. And reverse osmosis, I don't really suggest. You know, again, we just don't have a lot of access. I know a lot of people just don't have access. Some people you can go to lipsywater.com and order fresh spring water in glass to your home and things like that, lipsywater.com. But for those of you who can't, you know, if you have to have a reverse osmosis, treat it and good luck. It's bad. Oh, liquid chlorophyll, you can find it almost any health food store. Look for it organic. There's a brand called, I think, Desouza, Desouza, something like that. Good brand, pretty much tasteless, $7-8. Any health food store, Whole Foods. I don't know the local health food store here. So I'm gonna get ready to shut it down, guys. I'm gonna take one more question. Yes. Alternative. The sister's asking about an alternative birth control, y'all. All right. This is rough. I get asked this question a lot. And women who are struggling with wanting to be intimate and not create life, I can't lie, this is a rough one for me, only because it kind of defeats the purpose, you know? I mean, you're supposed to have sex and multiply. So you have to know your cycles, sisters. You need to learn your cycles. Some women are using an iPhone app to track their cycle. You need to get in tune with your body. You know, this is the way it's been done in the past. Most of us grown women in our 30s don't know our cycle. We don't pay attention to it. It just comes and there it is. And that's an issue that we've left to convenience, to doctors to monitor for us. And that is the major issue here, is that there is a time in which your body can give birth or not. Okay? So if you don't want to get pregnant, either A, don't do it, B, learn your cycles, you know, and then C, communicate with your man and work that situation out, because if he's not ready to be a father, then he needs to understand that cycle and don't be messing with you and messing up your cycle situation and messing with your, you know, you don't want to encourage her, brothers, if she's trying to try the natural method. You need to support her in her process. If she is trying to get off the estrogen pills, you know, and see, the men are usually the ones that make this really rough for us, because they've gotten used to the convenience of you being on the pill. Am I right? So they can just enjoy the situation, and you know, so we've left that to someone else. So that's a problem. So sisters, you've got to get back in tune with your cycle so that you know how to manage your intimate life if you're not ready to birth. That's the bottom line. Other than that, then of course abstaining. There is no miracle herb that I know of that's going to keep you from having a baby. I haven't found it yet. If you have, then please tell me, because I'm interested to pass that to the next person. Okay? All right, so that's going to be it, you guys. Thank you for having me. Richmond has been an amazing experience. It's like a big old family reunion. That's what I told Brother Duran, who had me down here. Brother Duran, y'all, please give it up for Brother Duran Chavez, first of all, because that brother's been holding it down and doing a lot of work and putting in work here in Richmond, and I'm so proud of him. And I'm proud of all y'all for showing up for yourselves. Okay, because a lot of brothers and sisters who are not ready to even get into the state of consciousness of healing and wellness and getting back into nature. And if we get too far from nature, then we're going to really, really get into murky water. And we don't want to do that. So we have to support him in what he's doing, and all of his affiliates and the things that they're doing. And his wonderful staff have been great to me and embraced me. And they've handled this very professionally, and they've been great. So I've enjoyed Richmond. I hope to come back. If y'all have questions, come and see me after. I have books over here for you, and we're going to sign those books and get them to you. And if we run out, then you can go to GoChefAki.com, download it to your phone. Also, if you need a meal calendar for your family, meal plans with recipes to go with that meal plan to help you transition, then we have that for you at GoChefAki.com/services. You can get a meal plan, 7, 14, and 21-day meal plan. All right, so if you're interested in that, come sign the email list, come see me. If you took a picture, tag me, and that's that. Thank you all.
All right, peace and power. Next, I'd like to, before, give it up one more time for Chef Aki. Hold up, wait. I see people moving. I got something really powerful for you. Please, do not move, do not leave, do not get out your seat yet, okay? Okay, I see people itching. Don't do it.
Ashe. Ezekiel Muntu is about to come, y'all. Gonna have to get up because y'all have to make room because we are going to throw down.